697 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. Dual-chamber air suspension with continuously variable dampers standard on the cheapest one. 3 LiDAR units bolted onto a car whose main job is the school run. Nearly 3 tons of 3-row family SUV that hits 62 miles per hour in 3.9 seconds. And a battery you do not charge. You swap it, 3 minutes, and the pack is full. You cannot buy it, not one of them. Not at any price, in any state, from any dealer in this country. This is the 2026 NIO ES8, and it is the most complete argument yet that the American 3-row electric SUV is charging you for things this car simply includes. But the number that should actually bother you is not the horsepower, and it is not the price. It is buried in the range figure, and the range figure is not what it looks like. Here is why this matters to you even though you cannot walk into a showroom and sign for one. If you are shopping a 3-row electric SUV in America right now, you are looking at a Rivian R1S, a Kia EV9, a Tesla Model X, a Cadillac Escalade IQ, and you are being asked to pay extra for the air suspension, extra for the bigger battery, extra for the driver assistance hardware, extra for the fast motor. Every one of those line items is a negotiation. Every one of them is a payment you make every month for the next 5 years. The ES8 makes almost none of them a negotiation, and understanding exactly how it does that will change what you are willing to accept from the next salesperson, who tells you the air suspension is an optional package. It will also show you the one flaw, so severe that in America it would be disqualifying, and the one piece of infrastructure that makes it vanish. Start with the motors because this is where the pricing logic breaks first. Front axle, an induction asynchronous motor making 180 kilowatts. Rear axle, a permanent magnet synchronous motor making 340 kilowatts. Combined 520 kilowatts. That is 697 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque through a single-speed transmission to all 4 wheels. Top speed 137 miles per hour, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.9 seconds for the 5-seat, 3.97 for the 6 and 7-seat. Now hold that against the curb weight. 5,798 pounds. Loaded to the gross limit, 7,165 pounds. You press the pedal in a vehicle that weighs nearly 3 tons and it simply leaves, silently, while your mother-in-law sleeps through it in the second row. But here is the part American shoppers should sit with. There is no other motor. There is no long-range option. No performance package. No dual motor upgrade you climb the ladder to reach. 697 horsepower is the base spec. The 102 kilowatt-hour battery is the base spec. The 900-volt architecture is the base spec. You cannot pay more for a faster one because there is not one. That is not generosity. That is a company deciding the trim ladder is a place to sell you seats, not silicon, and the chassis follows the same logic, which is where it stops being merely interesting. Multi-link independent suspension front and rear, dual-chamber air springs on every trim, paired with ZF continuously variable damping, height adjustable, stiffness adjustable, and tied to a road preview system that reads the surface ahead of the tires. Drag coefficient 0.259 on a car that is 207.9 inches long and 79.1 inches wide. Ground clearance 6.5 inches. 17 feet of car, and the minimum turning radius is 18.7 feet, which is a turning circle of 37.4 feet. That is the number that decides whether you hate your life in a Trader Joe's parking structure, and it is remarkable for something this long. Owners specifically report they do not need to 3-point turn it in an underground garage. On a 123.2-inch wheelbase, that is genuinely difficult engineering. Now here is where the spec sheet starts hiding something. Get inside. Nappa leather is standard across the entire lineup, 0 gravity seats in the front row and the second row, heating in all 3 rows, including the third, which almost nobody bothers to do. The second row gets a 16-point massage function, a 15.7-inch extending leg rest, 138 degrees of recline, and an 8.8-liter refrigerator, a 15.6-inch 3K OLED center screen, running a Snapdragon 8295 27 speakers. 4,082 watts of amplification with Dolby Atmos, including ceiling channels and speakers inside the headrests, a 21.4-inch mini LED screen for the back seat, and no Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto, not a single phone mirroring protocol, on a 400,000 yuan flagship in 2026. That is not an oversight. That is a company telling you its ecosystem is the product, And for a lot of American buyers, that one sentence ends the conversation right there. Then there is cargo, and this is the trap: 8.1 cubic feet in the frunk, which swallows a backpack, a briefcase, the charging cables, and keeps them out of your trunk forever. Behind that, it depends entirely on which layout you pick, and the gap is enormous. The 5-seat gives you 47.1 cubic feet behind the second row, expanding to 100.5 with everything down. The 6-seat gives you 19.3 cubic feet behind the third row and 55.1 folded. The 7-seat, all 3 rows up, 7 people aboard, gives you 19.3 cubic feet, 19.3. That is a stroller and a diaper bag. That is not 7 people's luggage. That is the number that ambushes families who bought the 7-seat because they counted heads and never counted suitcases. And the 7-seat becomes a 114.1 cubic foot van, which is the largest figure in the lineup. So the 7-seat is a cargo hauler that occasionally carries 7 people. It is not a 7-seater with cargo space. Know which one you are buying, and that number sounds bad until you see what the driver assistance package costs you. 11 exterior cameras, 12 ultrasonic sensors, 1mm wave radar, 3 LiDAR units, 31 perception devices in total, feeding a chip NIO designed itself, adaptive cruise, lane centering, automatic parking, narrow road assist, all standard, all level 2. Chinese crash testing on the 26th of March. 2026 returned top marks across occupant protection, pedestrian protection, and battery safety. It has never been crash tested by an American body, and it never will be, so weigh that however you like. And the city and highway navigation functions are a paid option. The LiDAR is already on the car. The chip is already on the car. The capability is already on the car. You just have to pay to switch it on. Whatever you think about that, it is now the industry's favorite business model, and it is coming to whatever you buy next. Now the pricing, and then the thing that reframes all of it: 5-seat, 382,800 yuan to 422,800. The 6-seat and the 7-seat executive luxury versions cost exactly the same as each other, 406,800 yuan, because they are the same car with different chairs. The 6-seat signature, 446,800, which buys you 22-inch wheels, a sliding second row, and nicer trim. Watch the 22s. Replacement tires run over 1,000 yuan each. That is a real cost every few years forever, and it is the single most common regret in the owner feedback. Here is the revelation: you do not have to own the battery. Under NIO's rental scheme, the car separates from the pack. You pay monthly for the battery instead of buying it. And the entry price of the vehicle collapses to 274,800 yuan. A 17-foot, 697 horsepower, air-sprung, triple LiDAR flagship, entering the market at the price of a mid-size crossover. And because you never own the battery, you never have to wait for it. 3 minutes, you drive into a swap station. The floor pulls the depleted pack out from underneath you, bolts a full one in, and you leave. Not 80% full. As of early June 2026, more than 8,900 NIO charging and swap stations exist, and more than 3,900 of them are swap stations, mapped across 9 vertical and 11 horizontal national highway corridors. Now go back to the range figure I promised you. The official number is 407 miles for the 5-seat and 395 for the others. And it is a lie of context because it is a Chinese cycle figure, and the Chinese cycle is dramatically more generous than the American one. So what is the real number? The source material admits it. Mild weather city driving, 336 to 360 miles. Cold weather, 249 to 286 miles. Consumption climbs from 26.7 kilowatt hours per 100 miles to over 32. Once the heater is on, 249 miles in a 3-ton family SUV in January, with the heat on and your knuckles white. In America, that is a disqualifying number. That is the number that gets a car returned, and in China it does not matter, because when the pack is empty, you do not sit at a charger for 45 minutes doing math about your kid's bathroom breaks. You swap it in 3 minutes and keep driving. The weakness is real, the infrastructure eats it, that is the whole car in one sentence, and it is why 120,000 of them sold in under a year, and why nearly half of the people buying them are trading out of a BMW, a Mercedes, or an Audi. So who should buy this? And what should they get? If you regularly carry 6 or 7 people in their bags, buy the 7-seat executive luxury at 406,800. Fold the third row and you do not need it and enjoy 114 cubic feet. If you have grandparents and small children climbing in and out constantly, Buy the 6-seat luxury at the identical price and take the center aisle, because that aisle is worth more to your family than any spec on this list. If you never use a third row, take the 5-seat and rent the battery, because it is the same flagship for a fraction of the entry price. And skip the signature unless the sliding second row solves a problem you actually have, because the 22-inch wheels are a tax you pay every time a curb finds you. Walk away if you need CarPlay. Walk away if you live somewhere the swap stations do not reach. Because without them, this is a 249-mile winter car with a 900-volt architecture and nowhere to plug it in. And walk away if your garage is under 208 inches long, because it will not fit and no amount of engineering fixes that. 697 horsepower, 3 minutes to full, and no American can buy one. The ES8 is not a car America rejected. It is a car America never got the chance to say no to.